Hello, everyone. Dr. Tony. Welcome back to our 6 video series on Ask Away Q&A, which is when you get to come in and you get to ask anonymously. You can submit in the link below. You get to ask anonymously questions that you have around navigating, balancing, experiencing more success and fulfillment in all things personal and professional so that we can all live more fulfilled lives. So let's hop right in and talk about today's question. So I'm going to read you today's question and we will go from there. This is kind of an uncertainty question, a navigating life and all things in it question. And so it's a broader, less specific question that still is very relatable. So I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this. Our questioner says, I really enjoy my work and I'm good at it. I've been doing it for a while. And although I don't really label myself as a high achiever or anything, I definitely have high standards for myself. I want to do well, and so I work hard. I never really thought this was a problem before, but I've been feeling off for a while now. I'm not sure what it is or why. On paper, my life is pretty good. I've got a good relationship going, I'm running my own business, and I have good friends. But I just don't really feel fulfilled. And now that I'm writing this, I guess I haven't really felt fulfilled for a while. It's embarrassing to even ask because my life is good, quotes, compared to most. But how can I find balance in my life and feel better? Really, really, really good, relevant question that a lot of people are wrestling with. I myself have experienced this question. When I was in a phase of my life where I was asking kind of what is the more not feeling fulfilled kind of thing, right? And so if you can relate to this question, if it resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, you know now, right, that you're not alone in that. Not that that eases the pressure around it, but there is a lot out there that says what success should be, what the markers, what the indicators of being a success are. So much so that those of us who have kind of hit those markers, or those of us who have created our own markers for success and have strived, pushed really hard, worked really hard to hit those markers, and we check them all off, and then we've checked them all off and we're still working hard and still feel like we're maybe pushing ourselves or sacrificing or always busy or always giving, but still aren't really feeling fulfilled. We are bound to have that question. What the, right? Like, well, then what's it all about then? If it's not about achieving these markers of success in order to feel successful, then what is it really about then? It's a hard place to be because others looking in, our perception is, well, they think everything's fine. And really, everything should be fine because, like, I'm mostly good. Life is mostly good. I'm not like where I used to be, or if I look at someone else's life, like I'm not struggling overtly in some of the ways that I can see that they are. Like I have food, like I should be grateful for what I have. I have a house, I have this, I have that. Like I should just be grateful, right? So I shouldn't feel the way that I feel. And then we become dismissive of our emotions. But that feeling, that offness, that lack of fulfillment feeling, it's there for a reason. So when we become dismissive of it, it actually makes us feel worse over time because we're not paying attention to our own internal processes, our own internal lingerings of what needs to be tended to. So if you're resonating with this in any way, please know that how you feel does need to be felt. Not for you to just sit in it and like wallow or anything, because that's not helpful. But we can't really work with something in an effective way, in an intentional way, if we're not aware of it. And so, what the questioner is saying here is that they're becoming aware of this offness, of this not really feeling fulfilled. Um, and that awareness is helping them to ask this question, right? Kind of putting the finger more generally on this lack of blah, like, I don't know, like I have things, like, why am I not feeling good? Just noticing that and noticing how that feels is a big part of change, is a big part of addressing it so that you don't have to feel that way anymore. So this question is general, it is more broad, but it's also probably creating a like a looming feeling or becoming kind of more tangled into other parts of your life. It's maybe even growing heavier for you, right? Because if it's been happening in the background, going on unaddressed, then it is growing in some way, shape, or form. I'm really glad that you asked this question. I actually write about my experience with this feeling myself, this lack of fulfillment that I experienced. I wrote about it in my book. If you don't have it, it's The Reset, A High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment. It's available on Amazon. It was one of the best sellers there in a couple categories. I highly recommend it. This is what it looks like for your reference. If you want to check that out, I definitely recommend. But what happened for me was I had accomplished so much at what some would have considered a young age. And I was really, really good at what I was doing. I was a striver, although I wouldn't have labeled myself that way. I was. Yet I felt like I was moving a bunch and standing still in life, like all at once. I was like, how am I moving so much, doing so much, and also feeling like I'm standing still, like all at once? How this doesn't make sense. I'm like looking successful, but not really feeling fulfilled. I was in this strange place that no one really seems to talk about. Now there's more conversation around it now than there was before, but at that time, no one, I didn't know anyone that was talking about what I was experiencing. So I felt like I was alone in the experience and it was confusing. I felt like I didn't really have a place to like process it or anything like that. So questioner who put this question in. It sounds like you are an action taker, like myself. I was definitely an action taker, a doer, a goer. So I get it and I respect that. I really think that there are benefits to taking action at certain times and places as well. But too much action too often can actually cloud our ability to see things more clearly because we're so wrapped up in the action and the doing and the going that we miss things in the peripheral that are messages that we need to receive or signals for us to take in and to slow down or to process. There's something for us outside of the action that we're missing if we're always sucked in to the action. So I'm not saying that action is bad or wrong, but I am saying is if we're doing too much action too often, then we are missing something that needs to be addressed as well. So you can see that there's a bit of a pattern here of there is something like you're feeling it often because there is something that's being missed. But not necessarily something that's missing from outside of you that you need to gain or accomplish, or grab or reach for, but something internally that's amiss. That's not aligned that we want to work with, that we want to shift in some way, right? It also sounds like you have a lot of steadiness in your life, which is great, right? There's a sense of steadiness or consistency that we all benefit from in our lives. So even though your life is probably very busy because you have a social life, it sounds like you're running a business, right? And so you're busy. There's a steadiness to that busyness, if that makes sense. And so while the familiarity of that steadiness may be considered good, maybe what you are telling yourself you should consider good or other people are perceiving, if other people are looking at you and saying, oh, she has a good life or he has a good life or whatever, it sounds like you're feeling off because you're reaching for something more, something different, something deeper, some kind of variety that is beyond the familiarity of the steadiness that you have, even though the steadiness that you have is probably already busy. You might want to pause and rewind to re-listen to that, okay? Because it can seem a bit confusing at first at surface level, but re-listen to that if you didn't catch it the first time. Um, and sit with that because that's important, okay? What exactly the variety is that you may be needing, be desiring, be reaching for, that's going to be highly individualized. I can't tell you exactly what that variety is going to be for you. And there may be, in fact, there's going to be probably a bit of trial and error as you gain clarity on what exactly that variety is that you are needing, craving, wanting, desiring right now. Okay, so you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And so your process may start just with something simple at a simple place, like taking an unexpected break in your routine, say today or this week. Okay. and engaging in something that is self-expressive, that does not have any kind of specific achievement goal or productivity outcome based connected to it at all. Like something that is purely self expressive for the sake of it feeling good and being self expressive. Maybe that's some kind of art that you create. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, maybe it's creating something crafty or something fun with your hands, but something that's self expressive, that's unexpected in your current routine, in your current steadiness of life. And to engage with that intentionally and to make some time in your lifestyle to engage with that a little bit more often. And again, this is variety, right? So don't become a stickler or super rigid about like exactly what it is and exactly how often and exactly when we don't want to plan all of the details out, but there's going to be a little bit of like going with the flow here as you trial and error, okay, with this variety that you want to see what feels good to you to intervene, to come in and break up this familiarity that you have going on. Okay. Now, if the matter isn't too much beneath the surface about what's got you feeling off, then introducing this kind of unexpected but fun and productivity based kind of thing into your lifestyle, it may be enough. That may be enough. That may be all that was needed for now. And you start to feel some relief. But if there is more going on beneath the surface, if there's more to the offness that needs to be addressed, then introducing this kind of unexpected but fun and non-productive thing, introducing that could actually lead to more questions popping up for you. Okay. This is not a bad thing. It just means that there's a deeper exploration that's in store for you to take some time with, for you to consider, to reflect on, to dive deeper into, so that you can then gain the clarity that you're looking for and then take the next steps that you're wanting to find clarity on. All right. And so I do offer, you might be like, okay, well, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Well, I do offer a deeper guided and reflective process in my book, The Reset, the one that I just showed you, right? Here, I'll pull it up again so you can see it. The Reset, High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment. So I do offer like a walkthrough that you can personalize to yourself for this exact thing, right? If you are feeling this offness, this stuckness, then that reflective process is going to help walk you through breaking some of those pieces down. Now, if you're not really a book person or you're like, I don't have time for a book, I'm busy, that's fine. That's why I have the audio course version of it for really helping you to get unstuck. And I'll put both of those links in the description below. Okay? Because they're both designed to help with getting through the unstuckness, experiencing less and less stuckness so you can experience more and more freedom and fulfillment, hence the title, right? So just to recap, adding some variety, okay, to your routine or to the familiarity of your life by engaging in something that breaks it up a bit, some variety that is fun and self-expressive is a really good place to start. That will either bring you more relief and clarity, or it will bring you some more questions to consider, which will lead to the more relief and clarity. Okay, so you might have to think outside of the box to discover exactly what the variety is for you. All right, because it's going to be different for different people, and that's normal. All right, and then if there are more questions than clarity at that point, that just means there's something more beneath the surface for you to explore and to tend to, which requires deeper reflective processing. All right, so then you can check out the Reset book on Amazon or the audio course. I'll leave the links below. And if you're like, you know what, no, like I just want to dive straight in, I want to get into this, directly, you can go ahead and you can email me and we can see if we're a good fit for working together for a direct session or package to see if I can support you. Okay. But there are places that you can begin, right? Which is really good news. There are places that you can begin. So I'm deeply grateful for you submitting this question. It's courageous to ask these kinds of questions, especially if you're the one that usually has it all together and so doesn't want to seem like you don't have it all together. I'm glad that you asked this question. It's relevant. It is important, and it's going to be of benefit, not just to you through these answers, but to others out there as well. So until next time, have an amazing day. Go ahead, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video with anyone that it may be of benefit to. Until next time.